The Lumberjill. My first day on the job was less than impressive, to say the least. I strolled up to the manager's office, punched my ticket, and the guy behind the counter said, "Were you about to leave?" I knew going into this it was not going to be easy. An industrial boys' club filled with the belittling, close-minded children at harbors. I replied to him, "No. In fact, I am here to follow in the footsteps of my father." On the job site, in that dark, withered forest that we were tasked with clearing, all I could hear and feel was the sound of the surrounding men, lingering, leering, and their eyes constantly closing in on me as I furthered my way through the clearing.
"Is she the on-site entertainment?" said one. "She won't last a week. She'd be better off in the mill than here," whispered the second.
Their insults and comments they mumbled under their breath, and none of them knew how many nights I walked home alone and quietly wept. On the day that I was to learn the ropes, I was introduced to this old gentleman with a beard as white as the snow under my feet, and his eyes colored baby blue, with glimmers of the sky reflected back at me.
"She's your problem now,"
the bigot brazenly announced as he returned to the office.
"Jill, was it?"
the old man asked. I nodded as I clutched tighter at my axe. He flung his tool belt over his shoulder and replied,
"I will teach you how to perfect what you already have."
His name was Melvin, but around the site he was called Martin. I later learned that it was for being assigned the joke tasks, like finding sky hooks, long waits, or having to train the only woman ever hired who chose chopping wood as her career path. Unlike the others, he was kind. Not 'cause he didn't comment badly, or was the only one who didn't try to isolate me. He saw my skills and how far over the quota I would fill. His respect was earned through hard work and sweat, and I gladly call him the first real man I ever met. In typical fashion, both Martin and I would team up and chop tree after tree. He would teach me about the techniques of striking, and he would ask me about my father quite often, as he knew of my past.
"He was the only one to take me under his wing, and these jacks know nothing of what it means to be alone in a forest so black, despite the fact that you work back to back."
One day came where we left our stack, and someone the next day had torched the lot. No one would fess up, even though they left a note saying, "Leave, don't come back," on a page next to a burnt match. I felt the tears begin to well up, and that's when Melvin stood up, took his axe, and marched out the forest, where the men were about to head back. They saw him approach, and his baby blue eyes filled with the rage of a tsunami that would make Poseidon cry. He reeled back and drove the axe next to the obvious culprit's head. The axe came to rest in the nearby bark with Alex, the top jack, and his shirt pinned to it, as the men stopped their march.
"You're all children. You have failed your parents and yourselves in thinking this is acceptable. You can and will never find companionship, let alone atonement for what you have done because of this. She puts you all to shame, earns a lot less than you make, and is worth 100 more of you sad sacks on a good day."
What do you care, Martin? You are of retirement age. Why do you care about this special case?
Alex tried to maintain his misogynistic grip on the guys as he stared dead in Melvin's face.
"You have always called me a comedian, but you are the joke. That is a reality you will all remain with, and every generation that comes after you blokes. That is to say, you even get to that stage, which is impossible as many of you are stuck in history, where we have turned the page."
He walked back, axe in hand, and said to me,
"You are far more than just someone who carries your father's name. You have made one of your own, and I am proud to know you, and I eagerly await to witness the person you will grow into."
He shook my hand, and we walked out of the forest again. Not hours later, The same office manager who asked if I was going to leave stormed through the trees and stapled a pink slip to Alex and 8 other guys' sleeves.
I will not have anyone here who intends to do as they please and cut down more than just trees. Get off my site!
The manager growled as the men saw their way out. I still work with these fields and these trees to this day, though I'm not the only one. I now earn what I worked for, and since I am top Jill, that bonus is mine, and remains still. The fact it took this long hurts, but it was exactly the image that should have been held from the beginning, and I hope that the light will continue to burn bright through the canopy, even in the darkest forest, and inspire all of us to rise like the people that have done so before us.